Hey friends, it's Hope, and today I'm here to do my July wrap-up. This month I actually managed to read 11 books, so that's super exciting, and I got to some books that I've been wanting to read for a long time. So without further ado, let's just get on into my wrap-up. The first book I read this month was The Distance Between Us by Katie West. I ended up rating this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a really cute, like, contemporary YA book. If you're looking for something like that, this is a really short read, and it's actually really good for the summer. I actually took that book to my in-laws' house, and I didn't bring another book to read at the pool, and I finished that one so fast. So I actually brought Easy by Tamara Weber over for my sister-in-law to read, and so I just went ahead and picked this book up again and reread it, and it was just as amazing as it was the first time, so 5 out of 5 stars for Easy. I know I've said this before, but if you guys have not read this book and you're looking to get into new adult, definitely check this out. Abby from Abby Reads, you need to check this out. So after I read Easy, I had The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey on my Kindle, and I was listening to that through my audiobook app and reading it before I was about to go to sleep, so I was doing both. And I really enjoyed the audiobook. The narration was on point. It was so good. What I didn't enjoy was like 90% of the story. So I actually ended up rating this book a 2 out of 5 stars. I will say though that the ending of this book blew me away. I absolutely loved it. So after listening/reading to that and not really enjoying it, I knew that I wanted to read a book that was going to bring me happiness and that I would love. And Franny asked me to read this book along with her. I actually don't know if she finished this book. I kind of sped right on through this, but that book is This Girl by Colleen Hoover. This is part of like the Slammed series, and this is told from Will's point of view. It was super cute. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then after that book, I had a Jennifer L. Armentrout book waiting on my Kindle through my Overdrive app from the library, and it wouldn't be a month of reading without a little Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I picked up Fall With Me, which is the 4th book in this series. And this series is a part of a new adult line that she has. Some of the story wasn't very realistic, but I do love Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing. It just sucks you in and it's so easy to read. So I ended up rating this book a 3 out of 5 stars. And then I picked up The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. A lot of people like this book. A lot of people dislike this book. So it's kind of a hit and miss between a lot of booktubers. I kind of fell in the middle. I ended up rating it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I will go ahead and leave my non-spoiler book review down below if you guys want to check that out and hear more of my thoughts. My favorite character from this book though was Maven. I know it's a little crazy. I loved his character development. It took me on quite a ride. He was kind of like the saving grace of this whole story for me. After that, I knew I wanted to read another like YA contemporary book, so I picked up The Boy Next Door by Katie Van Ark. This is about next door neighbors and figure skating partners who fall in love with each other, and it was super cute. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. And then after that, I was super excited to pick up 99 Days by Katie Katongo, or however you say your last name. I saw my friend Tanya post a picture of this book on her Instagram, and I found it at my workplace the very next day, so I immediately got it. And my friend Tanya really did love this book. I think she rated it like a 4.25 out of 5 stars. Me, on the other hand, this drove me crazy. I ended up rating it a 2 out of 5 stars. I have a non-spoiler book review for both of these books, so I will leave that down below. The next book I picked up is so unlike any of the rest, and that is Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. If you guys remember, for this month's TBR, I had you guys vote and tell me like which books you wanted me to read. Red Queen actually won, so I read that for you guys. But this one actually had a surprisingly high number of votes, and so I knew I wanted to pick this up. This book was super charming. I loved the movie. Weirdly, I actually liked the movie a lot better than the book, but I still really enjoyed the book, and I loved being inside of ours head. I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. And then I finally got my hands on another Andrew Smith book, so I picked up 100 Sideways Miles by Andrew Smith from the library. I did a non-spoiler book review. I will link that down below. I will say I didn't enjoy it as much as I loved Winger, because y'all, I loved Winger. This one still was though very, very creative. It had really funny and fantastic characters. But yeah, if you're thinking about an Andrew Smith book, I would say pick up Winger over this one, but I rated this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And then I had to get my hands on Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. I also got this from the library. I decided to go to the pool with it one day and I left the pool when I finished it. So this was definitely a one sitting read. I really enjoyed the parts where we see his humor and he like interjects his humor into the book. What I didn't realize was this literally was like statistics and findings and data about modern romance and how it is now compared to what it was like X amount of years ago. So I really wasn't expecting that. I thought this whole book was going to be his take in like comedic style on romance these days. So I ended up rating this book a 3 out of 5 stars just because it was a lot different from what I thought it was gonna be. The last book that I finished for the month of July was the highly talked about A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I actually finished this the other night at 2 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't a good decision on my part, but holy plot twist, I had to find out what was going to happen. But yeah, I decided not to do a book review over this book because there's just so many already out there. But I will say this, I rated this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, I believe. And while I thought that the world building and the storytelling was done so beautifully, I really wasn't impressed with the characters. So starting off with Feyre, what I did appreciate about her character was the fact that even though she was in a very unfortunate situation, she did not sit around and sulk or whine about it. She was very driven and determined to make her situation better, and I really like that about her character. Other than that, her character just felt dull. Tamlin, I liked his character, but he was also just nothing special either. I felt like things just worked out a little bit too perfectly for him throughout the book, so yeah. And then with Lucien, okay, Lucien was my favorite through the whole book. And the reason because I feel like he reminds me a lot of Magnus Bane. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but he reminds me a lot of Magnus. And who doesn't love a little Magnus Bane? But his character through the whole novel, I really did love. Now, Ryslan. I was a little annoyed that we were getting introduced to a character halfway through the book. But by the end of the book, I really appreciated him, and his character developed so much through that last half that I really wish that his character was introduced a lot earlier on than it was. But yeah. All right, friends, well, that does it for my July wrap up. I'm super excited for my reading month in August. I have some really great books picked out that you guys will be seeing very soon in my August TBR. Thank you guys so much for voting for this month's TBR. I thought that was super fun, and maybe I'll try to do it again in September. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'm sure I will see y'all soon. Bye.